What if just a handful of the right nut, one you might already have at home, could help lower your blood sugar, calm your nerves, protect your heart, and even support your kidneys, all without spiking glucose? In this video, we're revealing 3 science-backed nuts that do exactly that for people with type 2 diabetes and prediabetes. These aren't your typical high-fat snacks. They're nutrient-packed metabolic tools that help heal insulin resistance, reduce inflammation, stabilize energy, and improve A1C naturally. And the best part? They're affordable, delicious, and completely underrated. The second one will surprise you, and the third doesn't even look like a nut. So watch closely. And if you stay until the end, you'll also get a trusted nuts buying guide for diabetics, so you can shop smarter, avoid blood sugar traps, and choose the best nuts for long-term health. First on list, fox nuts. They may look light and puffy, almost too airy to matter. But fox nuts, also called macana, are one of the most surprisingly powerful superfoods for diabetes control. These ancient seeds, harvested from the aquatic Urele plant, have been used for thousands of years in healing traditions. But modern science is just now catching up to what these crisp little gems can do for your blood sugar, your insulin response, and your entire metabolic system. For diabetics, fox nuts offer a rare combination of low glycemic impact, nutrient density, and satiety, all without triggering cravings or sugar crashes. One serving a day might be all it takes to start reshaping your glucose curve. Let's break down the numbers. 1 ounce of plain roasted fox nuts, about 2 cups by volume, contains approximately 95 calories, zero point 0.5 grams of fat, 3 grams of protein, and 17 grams of carbohydrates. But the fiber content is where it shines. With nearly 2 grams per serving, the net carbs drop to around 15 grams, and the glycemic index sits between 38 and 45, making them a low GI food. That means they release glucose into your bloodstream slowly, helping to prevent blood sugar spikes. Even more impressive is their glycemic load, which remains low due to their airy volume, meaning you can enjoy a satisfying bowl without overloading your system. But fox nuts are more than just a low GI snack. They actively help repair the damage diabetes causes. They're packed with flavonoids like camphorol and quercetin, which reduce oxidative stress and inflammation in blood vessels and nerves. This is critical for anyone with diabetic neuropathy or early signs of kidney damage. Fox nuts also contain magnesium, 48 milligrams per ounce, or about 11% of the daily value, and potassium, 350 milligrams, or 7% of daily value. 2 minerals essential for stabilizing blood pressure, improving insulin signaling, and relaxing overactive bladder muscles that can interfere with sleep. In fact, magnesium alone has been shown in research to improve both fasting insulin levels and A1C scores within 12 weeks of consistent intake. That means a bowl of fox nuts isn't just harmless, it's actively healing. Fox nuts are also a hidden gem for diabetics struggling with appetite control and late-night cravings. Thanks to their light, crunchy texture and mild taste, they can be seasoned with herbs, spices, or cinnamon without needing any sugar or oil. They're naturally low in fat and completely cholesterol-free, yet their resistant starch and plant-based protein help stimulate satiety hormones like leptin and CCK. One small study showed that individuals who snacked on roasted fox nuts daily reported a 20% reduction in hunger cravings and consumed fewer high glycemic foods during the evening, an especially powerful effect for those dealing with nighttime glucose spikes. Here's a fun fact. Fox nuts are actually the seeds of a water lily, not a nut at all. And despite being light as air, they've been discovered in archaeological sites dating back over 2,000 years, making them one of the oldest cultivated superfoods still in use today. For diabetics, the ideal portion is 1 to 1.5 ounces daily, or roughly 2 to 3 cups roasted, depending on your calorie needs. The key is how you prepare them. Always choose plain, unsweetened, and dry roasted varieties. Avoid packaged versions that use ghee, sugar, or salt-heavy spice blends. They're best when dry roasted at home over low heat with a sprinkle of cinnamon, black pepper, or even a pinch of turmeric. Want something even more filling? Pair them with a tablespoon of unsweetened peanut butter or Greek yogurt dip for a balanced snack that soothes your hunger and your insulin curve. In the US, fox nuts typically cost between 80 cents to $120 per ounce, depending on the brand and whether they're organic. One common myth is that fox nuts are just starch and don't offer real benefits. But that's not true. The resistant starch behaves differently from regular carbs. It feeds the good bacteria in your gut, supports healthy digestion, and slows glucose absorption, making them far more valuable than empty starches like white crackers or puffed rice. In the right form, they're not a filler. They're a functional food. Now, a quick heads up if you're trying fox nuts for the first time. Because they're so dry, some people find them a bit constipating if eaten in excess or without fluids. It's best to drink a glass of water alongside them and stick to the recommended portion. So if you're looking for a crispy, crunchy snack that's safe, satisfying, and secretly healing, fox nuts are a top-tier choice. By the way, where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. It's always inspiring to see how far the diabetes healthcare community is reaching. Second on list, peanuts. They're affordable, familiar, and found in almost every kitchen. But don't underestimate the power of peanuts when it comes to diabetes control. These humble legumes, yes, they're technically not nuts, are one of the most metabolically strategic foods you can add to your diabetic routine. From stabilizing blood sugar and improving insulin sensitivity to supporting nerve health and appetite control, peanuts bring a uniquely healing profile, especially for those struggling with fluctuating glucose levels or insulin resistance. When used properly, they can shift the entire rhythm of your metabolism. Let's start with the numbers. 1 ounce of dry roasted unsalted peanuts, about 28 whole kernels, contains roughly 161 calories, 7 grams of protein, 14 grams of fat, 4.5 grams of total carbs, and 2.4 grams of fiber. That brings the net carbs down to just 2.1 grams, making them one of the lowest net carb snack options available. Even better, peanuts have a glycemic index between 13 and 21, depending on how they're prepared, and their glycemic load per serving is under 1. So they cause virtually no blood sugar spike. But what makes peanuts truly valuable is how they slow digestion and blunt the glycemic response of high-carb meals when eaten together. One study found that combining peanuts with a high glycemic food like white bread reduced the post-meal glucose spike by over 30%, a significant edge for managing A1C. Peanuts are especially rich in monounsaturated fats, the same heart-healthy fats found in olive oil, which help lower LDL, bad cholesterol, raise HDL, good cholesterol, and reduce triglycerides. For diabetics with elevated cardiovascular risk, this is critical. They also provide vitamin E, 2.4 milligrams per ounce, or 16% of the daily value, which acts as a powerful antioxidant protecting cells from oxidative damage, a known driver of complications like neuropathy, nephropathy, and poor wound healing. In fact, one study showed that people who ate peanuts or peanut butter at least 5 times a week had lower CRP, C-reactive protein, levels indicating reduced inflammation throughout the body. But peanuts don't just help with numbers, they help with cravings. Their high protein and fat content activates satiety hormones like GLP-1 and peptide YY, helping you feel fuller longer and reduce unnecessary snacking. This is particularly helpful at night, when many diabetics struggle with hunger-driven glucose instability. A clinical trial found that consuming peanuts as a nighttime snack helped improve morning glucose readings, reduced overnight spikes, and improved insulin function by morning. That's metabolic support that works while you sleep. Here's a fun fact. Peanuts were once considered an emergency ration during wartime, not just because they were calorie-dense, but because they stabilized energy and preserved focus, thanks to their mix of healthy fats, magnesium, and B vitamins. Today, that same profile makes them a steady source of energy for diabetics needing glucose balance and brain support throughout the day. Peanuts are also an underrated source of magnesium, 49 milligrams per ounce, or about 12% of the daily value, and niacin, 4.2 milligrams or 26% of daily value, both of which play crucial roles in nerve repair, insulin signaling, and cardiovascular health. And here's a bonus. Peanuts provide zero point 0.2 micrograms of biotin per ounce, a nutrient that supports healthy glucose metabolism, strengthens hair and nails, and promotes nerve tissue recovery, especially valuable for diabetics dealing with early neuropathy. Magnesium in particular is often deficient in people with type 2 diabetes, and low levels are linked to poor insulin sensitivity and increased oxidative stress. Niacin supports circulation and helps reduce LDL cholesterol, which is especially important for diabetic patients dealing with metabolic syndrome. For best results, stick to a serving of 1 to 1.5 ounces per day. That's around 28 to 42 peanuts. Choose dry roasted, unsalted peanuts without added oils or sugar. Steer clear of honey roasted, flavored, or oil fried varieties, which may include hidden glucose spiking ingredients. One simple way to use them: toss a small handful over a fiber-rich salad, blend them into a diabetic-friendly peanut dressing, or pair with apple slices or celery sticks for a snack that balances blood sugar and appetite at once. Here's a quick recipe idea: spicy roasted peanut snack mix. Take 1 cup of dry roasted peanuts, mix with 1 teaspoon olive oil, a dash of cayenne pepper, turmeric, and black pepper. Roast in the oven at 300 degrees Fahrenheit for 10 minutes. This snack is low in carbs, rich in anti-inflammatory compounds, and delivers lasting energy without sugar spikes. Stick to a quarter to a third cup, 1 ounce, as your go-to portion. A common myth says peanuts are too inflammatory to be diabetic friendly, but that only applies when they're fried in seed oils or mixed with sugar. In their natural roasted form, peanuts are actually anti-inflammatory thanks to their resveratrol, arginine, and vitamin E content. The key is preparation, not avoidance. Just one quick consideration: peanuts can be allergenic for some individuals, and they may cause bloating or indigestion if eaten too quickly or in large quantities. Chew slowly, stick to moderate servings, and always hydrate when snacking on nuts to support smooth digestion. So if you're looking for a blood sugar-friendly snack that supports heart health, calms inflammation, reduces cravings, and even improves insulin efficiency, peanuts deliver all of that in a familiar, affordable form. Third on list, chestnuts. They may not be as oily or crunchy as other nuts, but chestnuts bring a completely different kind of power to the diabetic table, one that's often overlooked because they don't fit the mold of typical low-carb nuts. But once you understand how chestnuts behave inside the diabetic body, especially their impact on insulin sensitivity, gut health, energy metabolism, and blood sugar rhythm, you'll see why these soft, starchy gems are one of the most functional, healing nuts you can eat in moderation. Their nutrient matrix supports long-term metabolic repair from multiple angles: hormone regulation, nerve repair, blood pressure control, and even vascular flexibility. Unlike most nuts, they're lower in fat and higher in complex carbs, yet their glycemic behavior is shockingly friendly to blood sugar when cooked correctly and portioned wisely. Let's look at the numbers. 1 ounce of roasted chestnuts, about 3 to 4 large kernels, contains 69 calories, zero point 0.6 grams of fat, 1 gram of protein, and 15 grams of total carbohydrates, including 1.4 grams of fiber. That results in approximately 13.6 net carbs per ounce. While that's higher than most traditional nuts, their glycemic index remains low to moderate at 54, and their glycemic load per ounce is about 7.3, safe when paired with protein or fat. And here's where chestnuts become remarkable. Unlike high glycemic starches, chestnuts contain resistant starch, which slows glucose absorption, supports gut health, and feeds beneficial bacteria, reducing inflammation from the inside out. That makes their carbohydrate content work for you, not against you. Chestnuts are also rich in vitamin C, 15 milligrams per ounce, or about 17% of the daily value, a rare trait among nuts. This antioxidant boosts collagen synthesis for wound healing, helps repair blood vessels damaged by high glucose, and supports immune function in people with diabetes, who are more prone to infections and slow recovery. In addition, chestnuts offer potassium, 168 milligrams, or 4% daily value, and copper, zero point 0.4 milligrams, 44% daily value, two minerals critical for nerve function, blood pressure balance, and iron metabolism. Copper also aids in energy production and acts as a cofactor in antioxidant enzymes like superoxide dismutase, which protect diabetic tissues from oxidative breakdown. But chestnuts also shine in their role as a slow-burning fuel source. Their complex carbs and low fat make them ideal for supporting insulin sensitivity in individuals who are overweight or experiencing insulin resistance. They don't spike blood sugar like white bread or processed carbs, but they do provide long-lasting energy, helping prevent those late afternoon crashes or nighttime cravings. One small study found that diabetics who replaced refined grains with roasted chestnuts for 4 weeks saw improved post-meal glucose control and a 10% increase in insulin sensitivity without gaining weight or experiencing fatigue. That's the magic of smart carbs in the right form. Here's a fun fact. Chestnuts were a major staple food in ancient Europe and Asia before the rise of wheat and rice. In some mountain regions, they were referred to as the bread of the forest and were ground into flour for diabetic-friendly baking centuries before the term diabetes even existed. Chestnuts are also gut supportive. Their fiber and resistant starch feed beneficial bacteria in the colon, helping generate short-chain fatty acids like butyrate, which reduce gut inflammation and improve insulin receptor function. In diabetics struggling with leaky gut, food intolerances, or erratic blood sugar rhythms, this makes chestnuts an unexpected ally for stabilizing the gut-brain-pancreas connection. The ideal portion for diabetics? Stick with 1 ounce per day, which is about 3 to 4 roasted chestnuts. If you're using chestnut flour, about a quarter cup is considered a safe equivalent. Always eat them roasted or boiled, never raw, as raw chestnuts contain tannins and compounds that can inhibit nutrient absorption and irritate the stomach. Roasting at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for 20 to 25 minutes after scoring the shell is the most traditional and flavorful method. When peeled warm, they reveal a soft, slightly sweet interior that pairs beautifully with cinnamon, olive oil, or savory herbs like rosemary. Here's a delicious diabetic-friendly recipe. Rosemary olive oil roasted chestnuts. Score 8 to 10 chestnuts across the rounded side, place them on a baking sheet, and roast at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for 25 minutes. While still warm, toss them with 1 teaspoon of extra virgin olive oil, chopped fresh rosemary, and a pinch of sea salt. Eat while warm for a satisfying, slow-burning snack that supports vascular health, energy, and glucose regulation. Now, one thing to keep in mind, because chestnuts are higher in carbohydrates than most nuts, you'll want to pair them with protein or healthy fat when including them in meals. Avoid eating them on an empty stomach or alongside refined starches. They're best used as a blood sugar-friendly carb replacement, not an add-on. Now here's a myth worth busting. Many people assume all nuts are high in fat, but chestnuts flip that idea completely. They contain less than 1 gram of fat per ounce, making them the leanest of all true or pseudo nuts. But this lower fat profile doesn't mean they're less useful. In fact, their combination of minerals, fiber, antioxidants, and complex carbs make them uniquely suited to the needs of diabetics, especially those looking to lose weight, calm inflammation, or improve glucose tolerance without going high fat. Now, before you head to the store, let's make sure you're buying the right kind. The wrong version of even a healthy nut can spike your blood sugar. Nuts Buying Guide for Diabetics. When buying nuts as a diabetic, the most important rule is to keep them as close to their natural form as possible. Health organizations like the American Diabetes Association and Harvard School of Public Health consistently emphasize choosing whole, unsalted, and minimally processed nuts to support stable blood sugar and reduce inflammation. That means skipping the flavored, honey-roasted, and oil-fried versions, no matter how tempting they look. Instead, go for raw or dry-roasted varieties, which retain their natural healthy fats, antioxidants, and fiber without adding insulin-disrupting ingredients. Don't confuse oil-roasted with dry-roasted. Many store-bought nuts are roasted in low-quality seed oils like soybean or cottonseed oil, which increase inflammation and insulin resistance. Look for labels that say dry-roasted with no added oils or sugars. Even with the healthiest nuts, portion control matters. Stick to around 1 to 1.5 ounces per day, about a small handful, as nuts are calorie-dense. Overeating can stall weight loss, raise triglycerides, or slow progress with a 1C control, even if blood sugar readings appear steady. Always read the label. A truly diabetic-friendly nut should have just one ingredient, the nut itself. No added sugar, no hydrogenated oils, no salt, and no artificial flavors. For best results, choose varieties with at least 2 grams of fiber per ounce, no more than 3 grams of net carbs, and a healthy dose of magnesium, ideally 8 to 12% of your daily value. Magnesium supports insulin sensitivity and nerve health, making it one of the most important minerals to look for. If your budget allows, organic options can reduce your exposure to pesticide residues. And once you bring them home, store your nuts in a cool, dark place, or even better, in the fridge or freezer, to protect their healthy fats and preserve freshness. Whether you're buying pecans, peanuts, pistachios, or chestnuts, remember this simple rule. The fewer the ingredients, the better the benefit. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to give it a like and share it with someone managing diabetes. Subscribe to Diabetes Healthcare for more science-backed food strategies and hit the bell so you never miss our next healing food breakdown. Your journey to better blood sugar starts with knowledge, and we're here for every step.